Merriam-Webster defines smorgasbord as a luncheon or supper buffet offering a variety of foods and dishes. Similarly, life in and of itself is a variety of people, careers, and cultures. Join me, Matt Bingel, as we discuss how each individual became the person that they are today, and whatever else they want to talk about too. It's an open invitation, and you're invited. So come on in and grab a seat. Welcome to Bingel Smorgasbord. Hey folks, how you doing? My name's Matt Bingel. Welcome to Bingo Smorgasbord. Come on in and have a seat. Nice of you to be with me. This is start of a new show. I'm glad you're here. This episode is basically going to be an introduction, not only of myself, but also about the show in general. Let me start off with myself. My name is Matt Bingel. I am 26 from Baltimore, Maryland, in the US. I am a puppeteer podcaster. Now I am starting my own show, and I'm a content creator. I've been puppeteering for the last 5.5 years, and it's amazing. I love puppeteering. It's so fun. I've been a content creator for more than a decade. I dive into game shows. I've been a game show fan since I was a kid, but again, puppetry and all that stuff. It's fantastic. Um, so let's dive right in. What is this show about? Well, as said in the opening, life is a smorgasbord. What do I mean? A smorgasbord is a wide variety of food. Similarly, life in and of itself is a wide variety of people and cultures and eras, I guess you could say. So we're celebrating it all on this show. And I'm really excited to be launching this. This is something I've wanted to launch for a number of years, and now I finally get to do it. Um, Throughout the first couple episodes, you will get to meet my amazing crew who have enthusiastically helped me set up social medias and come up with guest ideas. Yes, there will be a lot of special guests on this show. And it's not your typical interview show. Sure, we'll talk about their careers, but we'll also talk about whatever they want to talk about. Again, it's whatever we want to talk about. Come on. So that will be kind of the basis of the show. Sure, we'll talk about their careers, we'll go deep into their careers, but also just talk as regular people, because at the end of the day, while you have all these actors and puppeteers, directors, writers, and music composers and all of that, there's also regular people. They're essentially people like you and I. So there's that side of it too. Now, I've had a couple of years in podcasting. I had my own in 2018 called The Bingo Watch. It was a TV kind of podcast and it lasted a couple episodes. Unfortunately, I ended that show because I was starting college. I went to college for accounting, which was interesting. But yeah, I got all my classes done, graduated. Yay. So, first in my family to do so. So, good on me. But I realized accounting just wasn't for me. I mean, I like numbers. I'll tell you that. I love numbers. I am a math kind of guy. I know a lot of people don't really didn't really like math in school, which I don't blame them. But I was more that math guy. In fact, we did a multiplication competition when I was in third grade, and I ended up in third out of the entire grade. So that was pretty cool. Um, I'll tell you some of the other cool experiences I've had when I was in high school. I was a part of the Academy of Finance program in our high school for a few years, for 3 years, and every year we went on a trip of some sort, out of state. Two times we went to Boston. One time we went to Pittsburgh, and I'll share my story about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh itself is a really nice city. I gotta go back there again. Got some connections up there. I'd love to go back to Pittsburgh. Now, if you're a sports kind of person, You know that the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers have had this heated rivalry in football, American football, I should specify for our international viewers, for more than 20 years. It's one of the most heated rivalries in sports. And for whatever reason, my dad wanted me to wear a Ravens jersey. I told him, Dad, do you want to drive up 5 hours and see me in a damn hospital? Because it ain't happening. I did not wear a Ravens jersey. This was for the Academy of Finance program that I was a part of, and it was really nice. I love Pittsburgh, but as much as I do like Pittsburgh, I love Boston even more. We went to Boston twice, and I gotta tell you, Boston is one of the nicest, cleanest cities in the entire country. It is just amazing. It's very historic, and we saw pretty much everything. We went to Lexington and Concord. We toured Boston University. We even got to sit in on a microeconomics class at Harvard. Yeah, we did that. My teacher, Mike Martin, had connections at Harvard. If I remember correctly, I think one of his kids went to Harvard. I think, if memory serves me correctly. Again, it's been a long time. So we almost did it in 2016, but something happened where it couldn't. But we did in 2018, and it was one of the coolest experiences ever because those that don't know, Harvard is one of the most prestigious colleges in the entire country. And just to be able to sit in at a microeconomics class at Harvard was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And speaking of cool experiences, I was a part of a podcast for 2.5 years. Quite a few of them, you might know me from another podcast called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. I was a host on that for a little over 3 years. And let me tell you, being a part of Jake's show was easily one of the best years that I have ever had. Words. One of the best podcasts I've ever been a part of. In fact, it is my favorite. It's pretty much how I got my full start. I love Jake. Jake Defenbaugh and I are very close. It's also co-hosted by Chris Bixby, and they talk to people in the entertainment world, specifically children's media. We're talking Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock. If you were to go as far back as New Zoo Review, yeah, they went that far back. I believe that show premiered in the early 1970s and is still well known today. And just all that kind of stuff, it's quite popular. As of the time of recording, their channel has over 2,000 subscribers and almost 1 million views combined, which is insane, but it works. And I was honored to be a part of that for 3 years, almost 3.5. In terms of airings, my last episode aired months after I was gone. But that show was one of my favorite shows to be a part of. I've connected with a lot of people through that show, including some well-known puppeteers and just amazing people, not just talented people, but also great people that I've stayed connected with over the years. Um, so yeah, that's how I got my start in podcasting, and now I'm doing my own thing, which I'm extremely happy about. I think this is going to be a wonderful show, and I certainly hope that you think so too. Now, again, going back to the podcast, this podcast, again, you'll get, puppeteers and podcasters, people that I've connected with over the years, and maybe you might like to see, but also you'll get the everyday people, you'll get some of my teachers and maybe some, I don't know, some old friends of mine, but just really cool people that I think you would enjoy. Yes, we'll have people in the puppet world, obviously. I mean, I love puppetry and I love connecting with people, but it's also that life in and of itself is a wide variety. It's a wide variety of people and culture, as I said. I think that doing this podcast will not only allow me to go deeper, but it will also allow you to connect as well. You might hear a story and be like, oh, something similar happened to me too. Or think, yeah, I knew somebody like that. It'll allow all of us to connect in some way. Maybe not with every episode, but hopefully at least one. I hope that is the goal here. Over the next few episodes, you will again see some of my crew members because, well, two reasons. One, I think you might like to meet them. Two, you may see some of them in future episodes just to kind of introduce everybody. You might be like, oh, I remember this person. They were on this episode. Yeah, yeah. They're the one that talked to them about sports because we do have people who love sports in our crew, especially one in particular who you'll see in a couple episodes. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun for everybody involved. And I think that the smorgasbord idea goes quite deep, if you ask me. I think it really does because, you're not stuck in one realm of podcasting, like the nostalgia realm, or pop culture. Look, I love pop culture. I mean, I was born in the year 2000. So that late 90s, maybe late 90s, especially early 2000s is like very nostalgic for me. In fact, um, as of the time of recording this, Hannah Montana turned 20 years old recently. And that made me feel extremely old. Let me tell you, it made me feel old because I still have my Hannah Montana CD from all those years ago. I still have it. Um, and I still have the High School Musical soundtrack. I still have the Jump In soundtrack. Still got the Cheetah Girls 2 soundtrack. I watched that the night it aired. I was sick, but turned on the TV. Cheetah Girls 2 premiered, and it was great. I love Cheetah Girls 2. In fact, if I could be honest with you, Cheetah Girls were my first celebrity crushes. Yeah, I'm not afraid to admit it 20 years later. They were. I still have a poster somewhere of the Cheetah Girls, minus Raven. But yeah, just that early 2000s Disney Channel realm was kind of my thing, but also PBS. I loved, of course, Sesame Street and Between the Lions and all those shows. It was amazing watching those shows. I guess maybe I was a mix. Nickelodeon, I did watch a lot of Nick Jr. I had a lot of the orange tapes. Anybody remember those orange tapes from like the late 90s? Yeah, I had those. I still have some of them, actually. I still have some of the orange tapes, the Nick Jr. orange tapes that Paramount released. I still have those somewhere. I'll just show them another time. But I still have those. Um, I guess I was kind of more of a Nick Jr. kid, but I loved the Wiggles. Still got a bunch of tapes. We actually have a home movie from, oh God, I got to date this, 2003, where I danced to the Wiggles. I don't remember what video it was in particular, but yeah, we still have that home video from 2003. A little bit more about me. I was born premature. I was born 15 weeks early. So I was in the NICU for a while fighting for my life. Somehow, by some unexplained miracle, I'm still here 26 years later. And I'm happy to be alive. And I'm very, very happy to be doing this. Now, you might be wondering, what are these? Who are these? Well, I'll start off with Cantus there from Fraggle Rock. That card was sent to me by Fraggle Rock Back to the Dark puppeteer Jen Bain. Thank you, Jen. Um, very very sweet. The drawings there, the rest of these are made by my dear friend Alex Arrigo. If you're listening on audio, one of them is a drawing or a painting of a monster and a pterodactyl. That is one of my puppets, Marty Monster, who you'll see in some episodes, and Terrence, who's a pterodactyl. Some of you in the puppetry community may know Terrence. And then over here is a birthday card that Alex mailed me last year for my 25th birthday. And then over here is Marty Monster again, and one of my other characters. His name is Julius. He's a snoof. It's a kind of puppet. It's got I guess not a trunk, but you know what I mean. Um, but yeah, those are what's back there. Back here, where my finger is, that is actually pretty cool. It is the Muppet Show theme, but with music notes. My dad got that for me when we went to GalaxyCon in Richmond 2 years ago. The only convention I've been to so far. It was fun. I love GalaxyCon. It was great. The only thing is it's way overcrowded. And apparently that was the same thing this year too. Way overcrowded. They need to find something different, let me tell you. Because I think that was an issue last year too. But the M back there, you can barely see it. That was made by my friend Keelan Vargas. Uh, a couple of us in the puppetry community had met up in person for the first time here in Baltimore back in July of 2023. And we saw the Jim Henson exhibition, Imagination Unlimited, when it was here in Baltimore. And we planned this out for 2 months, and it was a lot of fun. And it was just amazing for all of us to be together in person. Now, us being together wasn't the issue. My main issue was our families. My dad, Jake's grandmother, Alex's parents, they had never talked or met before. But if you know my dad, he loves talking to people. So I kind of get that from him. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. But also, I guess how everybody connected. You know, we had connected. Alex, Jake, Keelan, and I, and a couple others. We had connected online ever since the pandemic. And it was the first time we had met in person, and it was magical. It was so special. Just us being together that day was something special. We still talk about it to this day, probably more than GalaxyCon, but it was such a special day. And I know I'm going off on a lot, but that's essentially what it is. You never know where it's going to end up. We just go down some roads, turn left, go straight, turn left again. That's essentially what it is. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I hope that you enjoy this podcast because again, this is something I've wanted to do for a number of years, and I finally get to do it, and I'm excited about it. I feel happy wanting to do this show because again, I mean, you never know where conversations are going to end up. You never know. See, here's the thing, right? With my dad's side of the family, whenever they had dinner back when my dad was a kid, he wouldn't say anything. In fact, his side of the family wouldn't say anything. Really, they just eat their dinner. My mom's side of the family, that's a whole different story. Now, you got to keep in mind, my mom's side of the family is Italian. And if you know anything about us Italians, we talk a lot, we enjoy each other's company. And that's essentially, they talked about anything. Nothing was off limits. Nothing. And that's essentially what it is here, too. Nothing is off limits. We can talk about anything, anything that comes to mind, or favorite memories, or childhood memories, or just something amazing that happened to you. That's I get that from my mom's side of the family. There's a lot of things I get from my mom's side of the family. So, in case you're wondering where you got that from, I get it from my mom's side of the family. Thanks, mom. But also, we had family nights when I was a kid. On Wednesday nights, when I was little, my mom and poppy, my grandmother and grandfather on my mom's side, they would come over and take care of my brother and I. I have a twin brother. My grandparents would come over and take care of us to help out. Eventually, it became this family night kind of thing. We would have a nice dinner, talk, sometimes maybe play a game like Yahtzee. We played some nights. That's probably the only one I remember. But other nights, we'd just watch Survivor. Yeah, I am a huge Survivor fan. I love Survivor. I'm liking the current season that's on right now. I've been watching Survivor ever since I was maybe like 5 or 6 years old, and I love Survivor. It's great. I love it more than Big Brother, a lot more than Big Brother actually. But going back to game shows, speaking of CBS, there was one not mini series, but like a week of not week of stuff. It was I will call it a mini series back in 2006, Hawk Game Show Marathon, and my family and we watched that every week it was on, and I wish they did that again. Maybe not CBS, but maybe ABC. Because let me tell you, ABC, that's American broadcast company. For you Australians, don't get confused, okay? Don't get confused. I'm not talking about your channel. I'm talking about American. Just to clear up the confusion. I think it would work on ABC because ABC's Summer of Fun and Games has been killing it over the last maybe 6 years or so. I mean, you got Press Your Luck. I love Press Your Luck. It's one of my favorite game shows. Right now, it's hosted by Elizabeth Banks. It is a lot of fun to watch. You had Card Sharks. I loved the revival of Card Sharks. It's a shame that got pulled. Same thing with The Chase. That was a really fun thing they brought to prime time. You got Pyramid. You got Family Feud. You got a lot of great game shows that are on prime time. Not some you'd say years ago, like maybe 30 years ago, back when NBC was still doing daytime game shows. I mean, they stopped. That was when Caesar's Challenge went off in 1994. I think that was the last one, something like that. Oh well, but I love game shows. I've been a huge fan of game shows ever since I was a kid. In fact, speaking of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, one of our guests was Mark DiCarlo. You know him from Jimmy Neutron. I, of course, know him from Jimmy Neutron, but I also know him that he was a contestant on the NBC game show Sale of the Century back in 1985. He won a lot of prizes, and I think it was a $50,000 cash jackpot. He won like $115,000 or something like that. I believe that's about $250,000 in today's money, something like that. Sale of the Century is a great show too. Um, yeah, I don't get Buzzer here, which is a shame because I like old game shows, and Buzzer's a great channel for old game shows. So quick story. Speaking of game shows, when I was in elementary school, we went on a trip to Washington D.C. I was in third grade, and my little group, we were split up into groups. My group, it was me, my third grade teacher, and I think it might have been my mom because she was my chaperone. I think it was either my mom or my aunt. I think it was my mom. Um, and somebody else. I can't remember who, but we stood on the steps, the very step that is of the Lincoln Memorial, where Martin Luther King Jr. did his famous "I Have a Dream" speech back in 1963, and I stood on that step and said, "When I grow up, I want to be a game show host." Yeah, so that was fun. I mean, I was not even 9 years old yet, and mind you, this was just after Obama was inaugurated the first time. In fact, we watched that inauguration live. I don't think we did that for any other inauguration, but we did it for Obama's first inauguration. So that was pretty cool. And I think Obama was a great president. I think he was a fantastic president, a people's president, so to speak. Um, that was a fun era of the country. But that's just some of the things about me. I mean, I'm in the game show community on like Discords. I play game shows. I used to host them. I'm slowly getting back into hosting. I might host something over the summer. I don't know though, but yeah, the game show community is really great when it is because you have your hit or miss like all communities do. But um, a lot of people on that side I've known for more than a decade, and I guess kind of the online community kind of started with a man named Zach Peters. I miss him dearly. Zach was a great guy. Um, he was a game show guy. He did these Google Hangout live streams. Yeah, that dates it, doesn't it? And he would do game shows, but he also was a dancer. He played a lot of like Just Dance and Animal Crossing, especially. Um, he was taken from us way too soon. He died from a rare heart disease at the age of 16. This was actually just over 11 years ago. Um, I've been thinking about him recently and what he would probably be doing today if he were still here. I think he definitely would have gone to college for dance. I'll tell you that now. But I think he really would enjoy. I think he would still enjoy the game show stuff. Like the game show community has really expanded over the last 10 years or so, especially the last 10 years. And just being a part of that is a lot of fun. We host a lot of game shows. I'm gonna think Price is Right, Card Sharks, Press Your Luck, especially Press Your Luck. That's been the big hit recently. There's this guy, I'll give him a shout out here, Travis Griffin of Game Show Studio. He's a great, great guy. I actually met him for the first time not that long ago, courtesy of my good friend Hunter Dillon. And he makes all these softwares for game shows, including obscure ones like Spin-Off, which was only on for a couple months back in 1975. Beat the Clock, Press Your Luck. Press Your Luck has probably been the biggest hit in the game show community right now because Travis made this software. It's called Press Your Luck Wizard Edition, and you're seeing images of it on the screen there. It is very customizable. You can, of course, make your own boards, and you can do all these things. It's really, really amazing, and I've had a lot of fun with that. A lot of us have had a lot of fun with it too. Actually, a lot of us have replaced Expert Edition, which has been kind of the norm for Press Your Luck softwares for the last like 20 years, or even Big Judge. Big Judge was a huge deal, but now it's Travis Griffin's. And he makes a lot of other great stuff too. It's really amazing. So big shout out to Travis Griffin. Um, but yeah, that's the game show side of me. The puppetry side of things are quite interesting. I've been a huge fan of puppetry for many years. Of course, I grew up on Sesame Street. Um, and then it got into Fraggle Rock. Fraggle Rock is like my comfort show. I love Fraggle Rock. Been a fan of Fraggle Rock since 2008. And then I got into the regular Muppet when I went to Disney World in 2011 and saw Muppet Vision 3D. It's a shame that's not there anymore. It really is a huge shame. But I want to talk about Fraggle Rock in particular. Um, I don't want to brag or anything or sound like I'm tooting my own horn here, but the people who make Fraggle Rock happen are some of the most amazing people ever. Over the years, I've gotten to talk to these amazing people. Jocelyn Stevenson, in particular, she's a very dear friend of mine. I love Jocelyn. She's very funny, and she's just one of the most amazing human beings ever. And through the years, I've been, I don't want to say noticed, but like followed on Instagram in particular by some of these puppeteers, people like Dan Garza, who's Junior Gorg, Andy Hayward, Donna Kimball, who currently is Moki Fraggle. Um, it's amazing. Um, and I'll read you a text that I got from Jocelyn last year. It really is just it fills my heart with joy every time I look at it. I sorry, I gotta keep in mind this was I guess what I'm gonna call Fraggle Day, Fraggle Rock's anniversary, January the 10th. As Fraggle Rock premiered on that day in 1983. I basically just told her that it was a strange yet incredible feeling that I am so connected in the Fraggle world now, as much as I am. And given that Jocelyn co-created Fraggle Rock, I just told her I want to say thank you. The Fraggles have meant so much to me since I was a kid, you know. And Jocelyn replied to that, and I quote, "Aw, Matt, thank you. When people like you say stuff like that, it makes my heart expand bigger than the Gorg's castle. You've actually always been connected in the Fraggle world. It's just more concrete now. You gave us energy all those years by loving what we did, but knowing you as a person now is more tangible. Now we know you're there, and it's fantastic. I hope that makes sense. That's pretty powerful, isn't it? Coming from the co-creator of Fraggle Rock, it meant the world to me. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I teared up when Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock won that Emmy for outstanding children or family viewing series at the Children and Family Emmys last year. It felt like I'm a part of the extended family. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that the official page of Fraggle Rock actually follows me. I don't know how this actually happened, okay? But my best guess is that I did these TikToks 2 years ago. You know how on TikTok, if anybody still has it, that you can duet videos, and in some cases you can sing other people's parts in a song. This particular example is Lose Your Heart. It was in the original series, but was brought back for Back to the Rock, right? And their thing was with Moki. You could sing Gobo's part because Gobo was singing the other part of the song, and then Moki would sing hers, not live, it was her actual vocal track from the song itself. And one morning I did that with one of my puppets, Marty Monster, as I said. Marty is an orange monster for those of you curious. Don't get confused though. Let's just make that clear. Um, so I did that, and I thought, you know what? I think people on Instagram might like to see it. So I uploaded it on Instagram too, and then I sent it to Donna Kimball because it's like, you know what? She's a puppeteer, Moki. I think she might like to see this. And so I sent it to her, told her, hey, Marty and I did this. I hope you enjoy it. Not long later, she replied saying, hey, great job. This isn't an easy song to sing, and you did wonderfully. Like 2 days later, she shared it on her story, and I thought, man, that's awesome. And then a few days later, I did a Q&A on my Instagram, right? And somebody asked me, who is your dream collaborator? I said the Fraggles. Does it sound strange? Sure, because I know how protective like Henson and Sesame are of their characters, which understandably so. They are very protective of their characters. They have every right to be. But my dream collaboration would be myself and the Fraggles. Not just that it would be a dream come true, but also to learn from people like John Tartaglia and Karen Prell and Donna Kimball and the amazing Jordan Lockhart and Dave Goles and or Frank Meshkolite. Just learning from those people would be incredible. You know, not it's not all about being in the same room, but just learning from these people who have been in the industry for a number of years. I feel like I could take a lot away from that, you know? Just also being in that collaborative effort. Which again, going back to the podcast, is also why I'm doing this kind of Meet the Crew miniseries to kind of kick it all off, because this too is a collaborative effort between me and a few other people. A lot of people are very excited about this, as am I. And I hope that you will stick around and check out the show and all that stuff. So I guess that's it. Um, Thanks for joining me on this first episode. On the next episode, we'll start off our Meet the Crew series. It's gonna be a 4 or 5 part mini series, just to let you meet the crew of the show. Again, 2 reasons: one, so you can meet them, kind of get the vibe for the show, and number two, because you may see them on future episodes. So kind of keep that in mind. Thanks for visiting. I'm Matt Bingel. Thanks for joining me on the Smorgasbord. See you around next time. That's all for now. Hope you got your fill. Join us next week for another fun-filled, enchanting, and exciting episode of Bingel's Smorgasbord. Thanks for visiting. So long.